You think you know what light does. You have seen it your whole life. You flip a switch and the room fills up. You step outside and the sun hits your face. And your brain, your perfectly reasonable everyday brain, builds a picture. A photon leaves the sun, it flies across space, it hits your eye. Simple, clean. A little bullet of energy zipping through the void. That picture is wrong, not slightly wrong, not approximately wrong in the way that Newtonian mechanics is wrong at high speeds. It is wrong in the deepest possible way. The photon does not travel, not the way you think it does. And once I show you the actual mathematics of what a photon does between one point and another, you are going to have to completely rebuild your intuition about what motion even means. Let me start with a simple question. When you walk from your house to the grocery store, how many paths do you take? One, obviously. You pick the most convenient road, you walk down it, you arrive, maybe you take a slight detour around a puddle, but fundamentally you trace a single line through space from start to finish. That is how every object in your everyday experience moves. One path, one history, one trajectory through space and time. Now here is what Richard Feynman discovered, and it is one of the most genuinely strange things in the entire history of physics. A photon does not do this. A photon, when it leaves a source and arrives at a detector, does not pick a path. It takes every path, simultaneously, completely, without exception. If you move like a photon moves, you would walk down the street to the grocery store, and at the exact same moment you would also be walking through the center of the Earth and tunneling through the moon and spiraling around a black hole 3 galaxies away and tracing the outer edge of the observable universe and folding back through time. All of those journeys would be happening simultaneously with equal mathematical reality. Every possible trajectory through the entire cosmos would be part of your journey to buy groceries. That is not a metaphor. That is not a poetic exaggeration to make physics sound exciting. That is the literal, mathematically precise description of what a quantum particle does between measurements. Feynman called it the sum over histories. And it is the foundation of the most accurate scientific theory ever constructed. The theory is called Quantum Electrodynamics, QED for short. And when I say most accurate theory ever constructed, I'm not being casual about that. QED predicts the magnetic moment of the electron to 11 decimal places of accuracy. When you compare that prediction to experiment, the agreement is so precise that it would be like predicting the distance from New York to Los Angeles and being accurate to within the width of a human hair. No other scientific framework in any field has ever achieved anything remotely close to that level of precision. So when QED tells you that a photon takes every possible path through the universe, you should pay attention, because this framework has never once been wrong in any testable prediction. Now let me tell you exactly how the sum over histories works, because the mechanism is where it gets truly beautiful. In classical physics, a particle has one trajectory. You can write down its position at every moment in time. One line through space-time. Done. But in Feynman's formulation of quantum mechanics, you do something completely different. You take every conceivable path that a particle could follow between 2 points, every single one. The direct straight line, the path that curves slightly upward, the path that loops around the sun, the path that exits the galaxy, visits another star system, and returns. You give each of these paths a mathematical quantity called a phase, which is a number that rotates around a circle like the hand of a clock. And then you add all of those rotating numbers together. That total sum, that addition of an infinite number of tiny clock hands, all pointing in their own directions, that is what gives you the probability of detecting the particle at the destination. This is the path integral. And the reason it works, the reason it does not just produce infinite nonsense, is interference. Some of those clock hands point in roughly similar directions and they add together constructively. Others point in wildly different directions and they cancel each other out. The paths that contribute strongly to the final answer are the ones where neighboring paths have nearly the same phase, where the clock hands point in similar directions and reinforce each other. The paths that cancel out are the ones where tiny changes in the trajectory produce wildly different phases, so the clock hands point in all different directions and destroy each other. Now here is the insight that makes everything click. The straight line path, the shortest possible path, is precisely the path where neighboring trajectories have the most similar phases. If you take the straight line from point A to point B and you ask what happens when you slightly deviate from it, you find that the phase barely changes for small deviations. The clock hands all roughly agree. They all point in nearly the same direction, and they add up powerfully. But for the wild paths, the ones that loop around galaxies or dive through the center of the Earth, the phase changes dramatically with even tiny modifications to the trajectory. Small variations in those extreme paths produce completely different phases. The clock hands scatter in all directions. They cancel. They annihilate each other mathematically. And the net contribution from all those crazy paths adds up to approximately nothing. So what you see, what you observe, what your eye detects and your brain interprets as a photon traveling in a straight line is not a particle that chose the straight line. It is the surviving residue after every other path has destroyed itself through interference. The straight line is not the path light takes, it is the path that survives, the path that wins the cancellation war. Every other route through the cosmos was part of the same quantum event and simply did not make it through to observable reality. This is a profound reframing of what physical motion even means. Motion, at the quantum level, is not a particle sliding along a track. Motion is a quantum event with infinite parallel histories. And what we experience as a trajectory is the constructive interference pattern left behind after the universe does its probability bookkeeping. The photon does not move from A to B. The photon is a spreading probability amplitude that simultaneously fills all of space and all possible histories, and it only appears to have moved in a straight line because that is where the mathematics converges. Now you might be thinking, well, okay, but that is just the math. The actual particle still traveled in a straight line, right? The math is just a calculation tool. And here is where I have to be very firm with you because that comfortable escape route does not work. The double slit experiment closes it off completely. You take a photon source, you put a barrier with two tiny slits in it, and you put a detector screen on the other side. If light were a particle that traveled one definite path, you would expect it to go through one slit or the other, and produce two bright stripes on the screen. What you actually get is an interference pattern, alternating bands of light and dark, exactly the pattern you would get if light were a wave spreading through both slits simultaneously and interfering with itself. Fine, you say, so light is a wave, but here is where it becomes genuinely unsettling. You can turn the source down so low that you are sending one photon at a time, one single photon. Not a wave, not a crowd of particles. One quantum of light all by itself goes through the apparatus, and if you run the experiment long enough, sending one photon at a time, the detection pattern that builds up on the screen is still the interference pattern. Each individual photon lands at a definite spot, but the cumulative distribution of spots follows the wave interference pattern, which means each individual photon somehow went through both slits. Each individual photon interfered with itself. Each individual photon explored multiple paths simultaneously and then collapsed to a single detection event. If you try to cheat and set up detectors at the slits to catch which slit the photon goes through, the interference pattern vanishes. The moment you obtain information about the path, the photon behaves like a particle that went through one slit. The interference is destroyed. This is the measurement problem, and it is one of the most deeply confusing aspects of quantum mechanics. But the key point is this. When you do not obtain path information, the photon genuinely spread through both possibilities, not as a metaphor, not as our ignorance about where it really went. The physical reality before measurement is a superposition of both paths. The path integral is not just a mathematical trick for calculating probabilities. It reflects something real about the structure of the quantum world. Now let me push this even further into QED territory because there is a layer beneath the photon story that is even more strange. In quantum electrodynamics, light is not just photons traveling through space. The electromagnetic field itself is quantized. The vacuum of space is not empty. It is filled with quantum fluctuations, with virtual photons that pop in and out of existence, with field oscillations that have no classical counterpart. When an electron interacts with light, it does not simply absorb a photon and change its energy level. The interaction is mediated by an exchange of virtual photons, and the full calculation involves every possible way that exchange could happen. The electron emits a virtual photon. The virtual photon travels some distance. The virtual photon splits into a virtual electron and a virtual positron pair, which then recombine. Another virtual photon is emitted. The calculation sums over every possible intermediate state. every possible number of virtual photons, every possible loop diagram of particle creation and annihilation. This is the full machinery of QED, and the reason it matches experiment to 11 decimal places is precisely because it takes all of those paths seriously. The physical world does not simplify this for our convenience. The universe genuinely does the full sum, the full infinity of possibilities, and then delivers a result, what you see on the surface, a ray of light traveling in a straight line, a photon bouncing off a mirror, the color of a chemical reaction, is the compressed output of an unimaginably complex underlying quantum computation that never bothered to take shortcuts. There is another consequence of the path integral that most people overlook, and it concerns time. In the sum over histories, some paths involve particles going backward in time. In Feynman's diagrammatic approach to QED, an antiparticle moving forward in time is mathematically equivalent to a particle moving backward in time. These are not science fiction fantasies, they are real terms in the calculation. When you compute the probability of light interacting with matter, you include diagrams where virtual particles travel back through time for a brief moment before the interaction concludes. The universe, at the quantum level, does not have the sharp one-directional flow of time that your brain insists is obvious. Time is a direction in space-time, and quantum processes can probe it in both directions, even if the macroscopic world always produces outcomes that look like forward causation. So what is left of your original picture? The photon as a bullet fired from a gun. Nothing. That picture has been completely dissolved. What you have instead is this. A photon is a quantized excitation of the electromagnetic field. Between emission and detection, it has no definite position, no definite trajectory, and no single history. Its behavior is governed by a probability amplitude that simultaneously encompasses every possible path through all of space-time. The paths interfere with each other. Most cancel. The survivors form the pattern we call a ray of light. When we detect the photon, the probability amplitude collapses to a specific outcome, and the specific outcome appears to have traveled a definite path. But that appearance is a retrospective story we tell after the quantum event is finished. It was not the underlying physical reality during the process. And the straight line, that comfortable, familiar straight line that you see every time light streams through a window, is not a property of the photon. It is a property of the interference. It is the geometry of constructive addition. Change the geometry, put in a curved mirror or a lens or a diffraction grating, and you change which paths survive the cancellation, and you change where the light goes. The light does not get confused by the mirror. The mirror simply changes which infinite sum of paths adds up constructively, and the photon ends up at the new location where the surviving paths converge. This is the deep truth underneath the illusion of a ray of light. Motion, at the fundamental level, is a quantum process of infinite parallel possibilities resolving into a single outcome through the mechanism of interference. What you call reality, the hard, definite, everyday world of objects tracing paths through space, is the macroscopic residue of that process. A world where the probabilities are so strongly peaked by interference that it looks like determinism. But the determinism is not there at the bottom. At the bottom there is only the sum. The infinite sum of every history, the full mathematical accounting of every path the universe can imagine, and from that vast probabilistic fog, through the beautiful, brutal logic of phase cancellation, emerges the straight line of light traveling from the sun to your eye, carrying with it the ghost of every path through the cosmos it also simultaneously took.